Hello and welcome to Leading Through Crisis, conversations between European and American business leaders. This series is dedicated to facilitating conversations between business leaders and exploring how they are navigating a changing business environment. This is just a snapshot of the discussion. An audio recording of the entire conversation is available to members of the EACC upon request. Send your request with your name and company affiliation to EACC@europe-cincinnati.com. This episode's conversation was recorded on January 25th, 2021. Again, a very special thank you to our sponsors, Clark Schaefer Hackett, Bannockburn Global Forex, Frost Brown Todd. And now here's your moderator, Kai Bitter, a member of the EACC Board of Directors and an attorney with Frost Brown Todd.
Hello, and welcome to Leading Through Crisis, conversations between European and American business leaders. This series is dedicated to facilitating conversations between business leaders and exploring how they are navigating a changing business environment. Our guests today are Garry Lanham, CFO of Baerlocher, and Mike Haught, CFO of Peter Cremer North America. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Clark Schaefer Hackett, Bannockburn Global Forex, and of course, Frost Brown Todd. Because we are practicing the social distancing, we're conducting this conversation over Zoom. There may be times when you hear background noise or the occasional drop in quality. Our apologies for that. This video is only a snapshot of our conversation. You can access a complete recording as well as other episodes on the EACC's website at europe-cincinnati.com. Garry, let's get started with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Baerlocher.
Well, thank you for having me. I joined Baerlocher North America about 18 months ago, and it's a company owned by a German parent company. They have locations throughout the world, and it's a manufacturing company focusing on additives for specialty chemicals. We service many industries, construction, auto being two of the bigger ones. And I work in the finance and accounting area. We're about 90 employees here in Ohio, and worldwide pushing 1,000, I would say.
Thanks again for having us, and it's a pleasure being with you, Garry, on this call. My background is been with 13 years with Peter Cremer North America. It's a privately held company based out of Hamburg, Germany. We've been in the United States since about 1999. It supports companies like Baerlocher within the oleochemical space, and we do, which effectively is, it supports multiple consumer products as well as other products that you would see out there in a lot of different places, industries. We also do service work for those companies as well. So it's both buying and selling as well as service work.
With both of you being essential businesses, I guess stay-at-home orders or lockdown orders were not quite as intrusive as for many others. But there is a real chance that the local, state, or federal government may have to take similar steps again. If it gets to that point, what do they need to do better from your perspective?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, it's not an easy situation at all, and it's tough for me to opine on it, I guess, because we were able to stay open, we were able to operate. So I don't have the perspective that maybe other businesses would have on that question. So I would say that just hope that they would follow the science and make it as short as possible, also due to the true impact that it has on people. Not just, I mean, yes, okay, the economy in a macro sense, but it's severely impacting people's lives. So I don't envy the people that have to make that decision.
100% agree. I mean, I think a lot of the, early on, we had a daily, in this process, as Garry mentioned, the teams came together and we had a daily business continuity plan every day. We sat down with a cross-functional team, and part of that was, one time we all took turns listening to the daily press conferences, what's happening, and understanding, is there anything that we need to learn from that? What can we do to help? For example, there were situations where, maybe we had PPE that, we knew that hospitals needed, is there a way that we can help them in that capacity? We may not need them or but to answer the question, I think, I agree. It's such a difficult situation. I would, and there's nobody can prep for this, but I think that discussion of the daily communication, telling us what we think they can do, here's what we know, here's what we don't know, and what do we think, how you as a company can help, if you will, how do we make sure that we get out of this together? That perspective I thought it was really well done. State of Ohio did a good job of that, and then having the PPP loans get implemented, I thought that was pretty quickly completed. We made debate on the amounts or all that kind of stuff, but it got implemented fairly fast so that people could, to your point, make sure that the economy kept going and people weren't going home without pay and they could live, if you will.
So you both mentioned business continuity. Can you describe what that means during a pandemic where you just never know what a day brings?
Yeah, absolutely. With this particular situation, when we got together to talk about business continuity and our plan or lack thereof, we went through a hierarchy, what's most important and what's second most important. So you talk about employee health and safety being top. So what do we need to do to address that? And then continuity of commerce. So what do we need to do to address that? And it's each individual leader of their particular group, whether it be the warehouse or production or accounting or customer service. What do you need to do? What if your entire group is out with COVID? What's the plan? So it's a lot of what if scenarios and planning for that, and understanding from an operational perspective how we can continue commerce, continue to support our customers, even if we were to have something catastrophic happen. And then you have also, I think, being a part of a global organization, there are possibilities where sister sites may be able to support having specialty products that are usually have to be qualified in order to be supplied to our customers. That becomes obviously a challenge. However, you be able to lean on other sites, and it's hard for us because we have one site we have two sites in the U.S., both in Ohio. So if something were to happen in Ohio, we would be in tough straits for supplying North America in the short term. But if you had multiple sites, I think, that obviously that business continuity plan would include somehow shifting production if possible. And of course, I'm thinking on the manufacturing perspective. But so, yeah, as Mike was saying, it's risk analysis and trying to address that.
Garry, you mentioned that employee health and safety was your team's priority. Obviously, mental health has been a huge issue for many people, including a lot of leaders. Talk to us a little bit what you've seen, what you've done.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think, yes, we prioritized employee health and safety, but we focused on, okay, we need to clean surfaces X number of times per day, and we need to have a work from home option. But the mental health aspect, I think, was overlooked in the beginning, not on purpose, but you just, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was the German upbringing where you just you soldier on, and that's just what you do, and you work and you work and you work. But I would say study after study is starting to emerge, and it's real. When you're working from home, especially, you're disconnected from your community. whether it be your family or your friends or your school or where you work, the people that you work with, probably that you spend the most time with, you feel alone and isolated. I know I did, and I do still. It's a challenge, and I'm back in the office pretty much every day now. But I would say we need to focus more on that. We being our company, I would say, should, as leaders, try to focus more on addressing that. And I would say, me personally, just even with my group, that's something that I've probably not lived up to my end of the bargain on making sure everyone's okay from that perspective.
Garry, well said. I think that's a great summary. We have the same situation. We've had situations, we've had new employees come in, and you're trying to hire somebody brand new, and I'm going to commit to you, and I haven't seen where the bathroom is, or I have no idea what I'm stepping into. Do you really actually do have a building type thing? And so we've had a couple people where I'm like you, Garry. I've come into the office. I do like interacting with the team. I get energy from that, and I think it's I'm fortunate to have a great team that I can interact with and I work well with together. So I think some of the things we've tried to do, and I'm sure everybody's tried to do this, is do some of these happy hours and trivia questions, and it's difficult. I mean, I one time I went out and said, hey, we're going to have one on Friday. What 6-pack do you want? So just let's go, or Starbucks or whatever, and just I got it to them, and at least something different to try and shake it up a bit. But we've really tried to do that kind of stuff. Just to interact. I think there's a big gap in that, and it'll take time for us to hopefully we get all back in the office soon. But it'll take time for us to get over that. So.
Thank you for sharing your experiences with us today. To our viewers, thank you for joining us. Just a reminder that the full audio is available to Chamber members and can be downloaded or streamed by visiting the website of the European American Chamber of Commerce, europe-cincinnati.com. Again, a very special thank you to Clark Schaefer Hackett, Bannockburn Global Forex, and Frost Brown Todd. Thank you all.
Again, a very special thank you to our sponsors, Clark Schaefer Hackett, Bannockburn Global Forex, Frost Brown and Todd. Thank you for joining us today. As a reminder, this is just a snapshot of the discussion. An audio recording with the entire conversation is available to members of the EACC upon request. Send your request with your name and company affiliation to EACC@europe-cincinnati.com.